Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about something that could prevent a lot of problems, and I rarely get this thing heard about in instruction videos about bug out bags, bug out jackets in this case, or something else in survival. And that is just a simple thing that could happen to everyone, and that is just a ripped pouch, or a ripped pouch on your cargo pants, or something similar like that. Most people will never encounter this problem because something that I notice is that a lot of people either don't test their materials or they don't wear it often. So what will happen if you are in a scenario where you do a lot of movement in wild terrain, thorns, branches, that kind of stuff, or crawling, then you will tear some material of either your clothing, jacket, or your pants. But yeah, a lot of people, like I said, they don't wear it that often. Myself, I wear my clothing very often. I wear shoes that I have 10 years, that I've put on for 10 years. I wore pants that I even wear some pants that I still had from when I was full grown as a teenager. So yeah, I don't like to say goodbye to my stuff unless it's beyond repairable. I find joy in repairing stuff, and that's also the reason why many people don't have experience with repairing stuff. They usually train a few times a month with it, and they're fine. And yeah, then you will not have the wear and tear. But if you test your material every week on very difficult trips, like with my clothing, I go hiking, I travel, everyday use, work. I use my clothing very often, so it gets the real battle testing. But like I said before, the points that are mostly tearing, besides this little thing, is at the beneath sides of your pockets and your pouches. So those are usually the things that you put stuff in, and if you do a lot of things, running, walking, hiking around, this stuff will move around in your pockets, especially if they have edges, and they will start to wear and tear, and eventually you will have some minor tears, holes in your pockets, and then the smaller stuff will fall out, and eventually the big stuff will fall out. And you don't want that during a long-term disaster scenario, a long bug out scenario. So what are three simple things you can have, and you should have this in your bug out bag every time, but there are ways to utilize this stuff. First of all, very simple, just some thread and needle. If you know how to sew, and it's something very lightweight, can be used in other survival scenarios, like the needle can be used as an improvised compass, some extra rope to make small tools, or to build shelter. You always have this in your bug out bag, and you can sew the beneath side of your pockets, and you can go for a much longer time. If you are not that's how do you say this? That's cunning in sewing. There are some other options that are far more easier. Excuse me. Before we talk about that, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch. If you're interested, take a look in the description. So another thing you could have is duct tape. Many people I've seen that try to repair clothing in the field, they usually take some duct tape and they smack it the hole tight, and usually it will get loose after they get wet, after a considerable time of using it, and it will get loose. So in this case, there's a very simple hack you can do, is to not, even if you have one of those isolation tapes or some weatherproof tape or waterproof tape, I would say don't put it on the outside of your pocket, put it on the inside. Just take some tape and put it on the inside, so it will stick to the material on the inside, and whatever is inside of it, pressing against the tape, will be held back. Then if it's on the outside, it can get loose, it can tear it off. No, but on the inside you will have more resistance, and it will keep the items in your pocket inside. So that's just another very simple trick you can do to close off a hole in a pocket. And last, of course, just a simple zip tie. If you don't have tape and you don't know how to do some sewing, not sewing like with lawyers, but sewing with thread and needle, then you can just take some zip ties. You can make with your multi-tool a hole here, a hole above the hole. Yeah, you know what I mean. And you can just use a zip tie to close it off, and perhaps you need one, two, or three to fully close it off, and that will temporarily give some relief. But what the disadvantage of this is, if it's still wear and tear, there is a possibility that it will tear up further and it will rip even open even more, and it will be more useful and more unusable. And in the worst case scenario, it will even go further down the pants or the jacket. So that way you will have a bigger hole that you need to close off somehow, and you have now a hole where your body heat can get through and you will lose it, or water or moist can get inside, or worse, some small rodent while you're sleeping. So yeah, these are three simple things that you always have in your bug out bag and you can utilize to close off holes in your pockets of your clothing. Excuse me. So this was just a very small, three small hacks that you can do, but it's something that I don't hear much people talk about. Usually, when they talk about the clothing, it's about the tactical advantages of it. Sure, I'm going to make a video about the bug out jacket with this Alpenflak jacket, but we need to think about the simple things. We need to think about the boring stuff. The boring stuff is what you don't see in movies. You don't see action movies where Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger, after they're gearing up and they battled, you don't see them sewing up the holes in their clothing. That's something that you don't see, but it is so important. We used to learn how to sew our clothing in the military, and now most young people don't even know how to sew, let alone close off some difficult uh, uh, patterns or some difficult tearing and repair that. No, it's always something break and you buy new shit, or you don't use it at all and only use it in the worst case scenario. But you never trained with it, and and if you have trained for it, you didn't have trained for a long time, for a long-term time with it, which can make a big difference in the kind of clothing. So keep testing, keep getting skills, and like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers!